Hi, it's Stacey, and we're back with another wedding gig log, the director's cut from a wedding gig log from 10 years ago. And it's hard to believe that this wedding took place just a decade ago. And today is December 20th, 2020 that I'm recording the audio for this director's cut wedding gig log. And this gig log actually took place back on December the 18th of 2010, as you saw in the intro there. And so it's been exactly 10 years and 2 days ago that this wedding took place, and I still remember this wedding just like it was yesterday. Now we're going to the Pensacola Naval Air Station's Officers Club, and I've done a lot of weddings, a lot of events there, so it's going to look familiar to you when we get there. And the Pensacola Naval Air Station Officers Club is right there on Pensacola Naval Air Station, of course, which is home to the Blue Angels, and it's also where that terrorist attack took place about a little over a year ago, back in December of 2019. You might remember hearing about that. And the Officers Club isn't far from where that terrorist attack actually took place. But I'm not going to go into that here. You can look back at that if you'd like to find out some more research on that. But anyway, let me tell you about this wedding. Now, I had gone out the night before and done the rehearsal with them because I was doing the ceremony and the reception. And the bride told me I could just leave my equipment there. Now, normally I wouldn't leave my equipment set up anywhere else, but since it was the Pensacola Naval Air Station and you had soldiers walking around with guns outside, I thought, okay, I think my system will be pretty safe there. And it was. I mean, nothing happened. So I went out and set everything up the night before, and all I had to do when I got there was just go in there and take my computers in, set them up, and we were good to go. So anyway, you're going to notice my setup is a lot different. This is before I had my Fender Passport that I use now. But anyway, this is the room where the ceremony took place. And they got several rooms there at the Officers Club. And I was actually set up in two different rooms. But that was my old ceremony system right there. And I had two Pro L speakers, which I still have. I don't really use them anymore. But you can see that big powered amp there and the computer and then that small little mixing board. And of course, now I've got my Fender Passport, which is just real simple to set up, which that has been a saving grace as far as that goes. But again, that was what I was using for ceremonies back 10 years ago. Hard to believe that we've come a long way in just a short amount of time. Now back in that other room there, you can see my big JBL speaker there. That's where the reception was held, and we're going to go in there in just a second. But yeah, you can see that small little Behringer mixer that I had, and my computer, and that big power amp that weighed a ton to carry around. So yeah, I am so blessed I've got the Fender Passport now. That really helps out. So anyway, here we are in the reception room. You see what I looked like 10 years ago. And you're going to see my system here. Now, this is back before I had any scrims or anything like that. And of course, I did straighten out that tablecloth there. And you can see the Rio 3 and the Rio 4 there on the ground that I still use today. And I'm going to show you a picture in just a second of what my setup looks like in 2020 so you can see what it looked like 10 years ago compared to what it looks like now. But there's my big JBL speakers that weighed a ton. And again, I didn't have any scrims. I didn't have any facades or anything at that time. Now, here's a more recent picture of my setup. This was taken just a few weeks ago in November of 2020. Now, you can see how things have changed over the last 10 years. Still got the Rio 3 and the Rio 4 lights that I use. I got some park cans there on the speaker stands, but you can see I've got scrims up now, and I also got a facade there. That's a brand new facade. I've only used it about 3 times, but it really makes my system look good, I think. Putting it in front of there, you hides all the wires, hides everything. You put some LED lights behind there, and it really looks elegant. So yeah, I think things have changed a lot in the last 10 years. Now here we go back to 2010. You can see, again, what my setup looked like then. All I did was I just took a tablecloth there and just covered the wires, as you can see. Now here we are again. This is when the ceremony was getting ready to begin, and you can see how they had everything set up. And again, like I said, my Fender Passport that I've gotten since then really helps out. It really saves my setup time by a lot. I have to say, that Fender Passport only takes about 10 minutes to set up and break down. Now here we are inside the reception room once again. You can see did a little bit of uplighting around the room there. There's my setup again. And again, before I even had any scrims or anything on the speaker stands. Now those speakers right there weighed about, I want to say about 75, 80 pounds at least. They were real heavy. And my back really felt it at the end of those gigs. And I think I got my RCF speakers, the one that are more lightweight. I believe I got them at the end of 2013. So yeah, I still had a few more years I was going to be using these JBLs that you saw, and there we're just doing the cake cutting. Now here we are at the father-bride dance, and you can see how the bride was having a good time there. And again, you know what, I think the scrims really help out. As you can see there, you can see that speaker, it just hides the tripod, so you don't even see those anymore. But again, this was 10 years ago, and it's just hard to believe how things had changed. Now here we are at the mother groom dance. And again, this was a very fun group, and like I said, I watched this gig log, and I was thinking about this, and I remember it just like it was yesterday. I really do. And I do remember this bride and groom. They were a lot of fun. And one thing that I do remember, and I remember watching this in the gig log too, is that they want me to play Thriller right at the end of the night. And I thought, yeah, okay, Thriller at a Christmas wedding. Well, that's interesting. But hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll do whatever the bride and groom want me to do. If they want me to play Christmas music in the middle of June, I'll do it. It doesn't really matter to me. it's whatever they want to do. Now here we are getting into the open dancing, and I look back at this and I think about all these little kids that you see there. I wonder what they're up to now, because they're all 10 years older, everybody's 10 years older, and I wonder what this bride and groom's up to now. And I say this a lot when I do these director's cut gig logs, but a lot of times, I don't really keep in touch with the brides and grooms. I usually keep in touch with them for a while after the wedding, but I wonder how this bride and groom's doing. I hope that they're doing well, and I hope that they've enjoyed 10 years of wonderful marriage. So, they were just a fun group, what I can remember. And, this group, like I said, really got out there and had a good time. You can see how they had the Christmas trees up there, and they had it really decorated for Christmas and all that. And I did a little bit of Christmas uplighting around the room. Now, the megapixels that you see right there on the right, I actually just had those on a fade. They were just going through some different color changes. And I still use those for uplighting too. I mean, even 10 years later, they're still very popular. And you see the Rio 3, they're going on the ceiling. Still use it. Still, kids get really mesmerized by that. And I remember this lady here with her son. They got out there and had a really good time. And I remember he came up and started requesting a lot of songs, and he was just really enjoying himself as well. And like I said, the lights really, are really mesmerizing for the kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, especially little babies. I mean, I've seen even babies like 6 months old or something. They'll just look up at the ceiling and see the Rio 3 going, and they're just like, really astonished by it. And when my nephews were both real little, I mean, I put it on the ceiling for them, and they really liked it too. So it's really interesting, how kids will react to that. But anyway, here we are playing, some slow songs, and we're getting back into some more fast dancing. And again, you can see all these kids, and I just wonder how they're doing now. They're the little there. They'd probably be interested in seeing this too, and to see what they look like when they were little. And again, when you look back at these weddings, you just think about what your setup looks like, and it's just hard to believe it's been 10 years. And what my setup looked like, I just really think that I made some enhancements when I first of all got rid of the big JPL speakers there, and also got some scrims to put on the speaker stands, and then got that new facade, which really helps out a lot. Like I said, I think it really adds to my setup. But this group really did have a good time. You see them out there dancing and enjoying themselves. And while we're talking about that, when it comes to like requests and things like that, people have asked me, how do you normally do that with your brides and grooms? How do you know what to play and that kind of thing? Well, I give my brides and grooms, a form to fill out, which I can fill out online, and they can make me a list of the songs they want to hear. And I usually give them 15 must-play songs, which is roughly about an hour of music for the open dancing, and then I tell them that they can make me an unlimited list of secondary songs, which is songs they would like to hear, but if they can't play them, it's no big deal. We're not going to worry about it. And then what I normally do is I mix those in with requests from their guests, and that always helps out. So that's always what's worked out well for me. And and that's what you do. You kind of just read the crowd, just kind of see what gets people out there dancing and having a good time. Some weddings, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to want to hear a lot of country music. Then you're going to have somebody going to want to hear a lot of hip hop music. Every wedding is different. That's what you got to understand. I mean, there's not a one size fits all when it comes to music at a wedding reception. Because, like I said, one weekend I may be doing a wedding for an African American couple, and they want to hear nothing but rap and hip hop and that kind of thing. And then maybe the next weekend I may be in a barn and they may just want to hear country music. And then I may, have another older couple, the next weekend where they want to hear nothing but Sinatra, so you just never can tell. Anyway, there's another look at my setup there, as you can see. And what's making that light effect there on the tablecloth that you're seeing up there, I had my Revo sweep underneath there, and that's what was making that neat design there that you see on the table. So anyway, that was it. We were ending the reception at this point, and like I said, this was just a beautiful facility, a beautiful wedding, and it was just a lot of fun. So here we are driving home, and this was in my old van that I had. I had an old Chevy Venture back then, which I've actually gotten 2 more vans since this video was made. But yeah, this was just a few days before Christmas, and I remember this well. So anyway, like I said, it's fun to look back at your wedding gig logs from 10 years ago, and it's going to be pretty amazing to look back at the wedding gig logs from now, in 2020 when 2030 rolls around. And see how things are going. We'll probably remember the pandemic and all that stuff. So, it's just amazing how things change. So anyway, this is where we're going to leave this. I really hope that you've enjoyed looking back at this wedding gig log. I've enjoyed watching it with you. And I'm going to include a link to the original gig log if you'd like to see this with the music and everything and see how this gig log was originally recorded. And you can take a look at the original gig log from there. Okay, so anyway, if I don't talk to you between now and then, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a very happy holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon. Till next time, practice and enjoy.